throwaway account because my girlfriend and a few of her friends use Reddit, and I don't want this tied back to me. So, here goes. I, 30M, have been with my girlfriend, Lydia, 28F, for about 5 years now. We met through mutual friends, and from the start, she was charming, kind, and honestly the kind of woman I thought I'd never have a chance with. We clicked almost immediately, and within a year we moved in together. Everything was smooth for the first few years. We had our ups and downs, like any couple, but I trusted her, and I genuinely thought she trusted me too. Then something happened last year that completely shook me, and now I'm here questioning whether I'm the asshole for what I did. About a year ago, Lydia reconnected with her ex-boyfriend, Marcus, 32M. She said they hadn't spoken in years, and apparently, he reached out to catch up. I wasn't thrilled about it, but she framed it as harmless. She even told me, "I don't want any secrets between us, so I'm letting you know." At first, it really did seem harmless. They'd occasionally text, nothing crazy. But then I started noticing that Marcus would call her, always late at night. Like we'd be in bed, and suddenly her phone would buzz at 11:30 p.m., midnight, even 1 in the morning. I asked why he couldn't call at a normal time, and she brushed it off with, "He works late shifts. This is just when he's free." It made me uneasy, but I didn't want to be the jealous, controlling boyfriend. I told myself, she's with me, not him. Trust her. But it didn't stop. In fact, the calls became more frequent, sometimes multiple times a week. And it wasn't just short chats. I'd wake up at 2 a.m., roll over, and see her whispering into the phone, pacing around the living room. Whenever I confronted her, she'd sigh and say, "You're overreacting. He's just a friend. You have female friends too, don't you?" "Sure, I do. But none of them call me at midnight." Around the same time, Lydia found out she was pregnant. When she told me, I was stunned but also happy. We hadn't been actively trying, but we also weren't preventing it. And we had talked about kids before. She seemed genuinely excited too, but a small, ugly thought started to creep into my mind. If she was constantly on the phone with Marcus, whispering, laughing, sharing late-night conversations she wasn't having with me, how could I be sure the baby was mine? I hated myself for even thinking that. I wanted to trust her. I wanted to believe that after 5 years together, she wouldn't betray me. But the timing of everything, the late-night calls, her sudden closeness to Marcus, and then the pregnancy, it all felt off. The moment that really broke me happened when I overheard one of their conversations. It was about 2 months into her pregnancy. I woke up around 1 a.m. to use the bathroom and noticed Lydia wasn't in bed. I walked into the living room quietly and saw her on the phone with Marcus, smiling. I didn't catch everything, but I heard her say, "You'll always be important to me. You know that." No, of course he doesn't know. He wouldn't understand. When I walked into the room, she jumped like she'd been caught doing something terrible. She quickly hung up and muttered something about Marcus being emotional lately. That night, I barely slept. My mind was racing. What didn't I understand? Why would she say something like that? When our daughter was born, I loved her instantly. Holding her for the first time made me want to forget all the doubts and just move forward as a family. But every time Marcus's name popped up on her phone, those doubts came roaring back. I noticed something else, too. Lydia would get really cagey whenever I mentioned how much the baby looked like me. She'd just smile awkwardly or change the subject. After about a month of sleepless nights, I made a decision I'm not proud of. I secretly ordered a DNA test. I told Lydia I was taking our daughter out for a father-daughter day. Instead, I took her to a clinic where they did a painless swab. I felt like the worst person in the world, like I was betraying Lydia by even doubting her. But at the same time, I felt like I had no choice. Waiting for those results was the longest 2 weeks of my life. When the email finally came, I sat in my car, hands shaking as I opened it. And when I read the words, I felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. 99.9% probability, you are not the biological father. I can't even describe what that felt like. My stomach dropped, my vision blurred, and I just sat there, staring at the screen, whispering no, over and over. I wanted to throw up. I wanted to scream. I wanted to drive away and never come back. But most of all, I wanted to know why. When I confronted Lydia, she broke down almost immediately. She admitted that, yes, during one of those late-night catch-up sessions, she had slept with Marcus. She swore it only happened once, right before she found out she was pregnant, and that she didn't mean for it to happen. She said she panicked, didn't know how to tell me, and hoped the baby was mine so she wouldn't have to confess. I was speechless. 5 years together, and she threw it all away for one night with an ex? And then let me believe I was the father for months? When I asked her what she planned to do if the baby turned out to be his, she just cried and said she didn't know. Her family knows now because I told them. Some of them are furious at her. Others are saying I'm cruel for exposing her instead of keeping it private. Marcus knows too, and he's suddenly trying to play the role of doting father, talking about custody and visitation. I love that little girl. I really do. But I don't know if I can raise a child that isn't mine, especially when the father is a man who is sneaking around with my girlfriend in the middle of the night. Lydia keeps begging me to look past it and stay together, saying we can still raise her daughter as our family. But every time I look at Lydia, I see betrayal. And every time I look at the baby, I feel this horrible mix of love and heartbreak, knowing she isn't mine. Here's the thing. Some people, including Lydia and even a couple of my friends, are saying I'm the asshole, not her. Not because of the cheating, everyone agrees that was wrong, but because I went behind her back and did the DNA test without telling her. They say it was a violation of her trust and our relationship, that I should have talked to her first instead of sneaking around. But if I had asked, would she have admitted the truth? Or would she have lied to protect herself? I keep thinking, if I hadn't done that test, I'd still be living a lie, raising a child I thought was mine, while the real father was lurking in the background, waiting. So, viewers, am I the bad person for secretly DNA testing my baby because my girlfriend's ex kept calling her late at night?